Time for another backpacking trip. I managed to sneak in one in this crazy holiday season. I'm in Joshua Tree National Park right now, and I'm going to do a quick overnighter. It is about, I would say, maybe 50 degrees even right now. High's supposed to be in the 60s, but as you can kind of see around me, it is kind of overcast, so it's a little chilly right now. So I'm going to show you the route I'm going to be taking because I'm just going to be connecting several trails. It's kind of a customized backpacking trip. I'm starting near the west entrance. Let me flip the camera around so that you can kind of see where I am. Alright, so maybe you can see there were cars driving down it earlier. Oh, you can see the road right here. There's the road, that's Park Boulevard. This way, you can see the valley down there. That's the west entrance. It's the main entrance people use to get into Joshua Tree National Park. So I'm on this little spur trail off the road, going to be heading this way, I believe it's west, to the Bigfoot Trail, and then I should be heading south pretty much the entire day. So let me get out my topo map. Alright, so here's my topo map. I'm not sure if there's a official pronunciation of it, but it's the map that gives you basically the details of everything around here. It's better than like a touristy map. But let's see, this right here is the west entrance. That's when people usually come in. I am right here right now, so I'm going to take the spur to the Bigfoot Trail. Gonna take it, this is weird to do with the phone, north to Johnny Lane Canyon. And then I'm going to come up here to the California riding and hiking trail, which most people do as their backpacking trip in here. I've done that before. And then I'm headed towards Fan Canyon Overlook. If I have time, I'll take the full loop. But that's my goal for today. And then tomorrow I'll go over my special route for that day. I'm just cresting a hill right now, still on that little spur trail to the Bigfoot Trail, and things are already pretty awesome. If you can see in the distance here, it's kind of covered in clouds, but this is Mount San Gorgonio. It's the highest peak in Southern California. I actually made it out there before the snow hit. It's my first time up Sanji, but beautiful snow-covered mountains in the distance. It's pretty cool. Okay, so it looks like I am hitting the Bigfoot Trail. I originally walked the wrong direction on the Bigfoot Trail, which is down this way. I was getting awesome views of San Gorgonio and I kept following them, and then realized about a mile in that I shouldn't still be getting those views, but right here there's an arrow that leads to the road, so that got me confused, and there's no signs and there's an X here, but based on these markings here and the fact that I did see a sign that is the Bigfoot Trail about a mile down, this is actually where I'm supposed to be going. So I already did a 2-mile detour. That was pretty unnecessary. It was very beautiful, but unnecessary, so good start to my day. So now I am headed in the correct direction. It's south, and still heading on the Bigfoot Trail. I have no idea why it's called Bigfoot Trail. I think Bigfoot is usually more like trees and mountains sort of thing, and not desert, but this is the Bigfoot Trail, and the next place I'm headed is Samuelson's Rocks, which are a little off trail, but I looked up information on them, and and they could be worth taking a little trip off trail for. I'll explain in a minute. So here's the story of John Samuelson, and I got this off the internet, so you know, it may or may not be true, may be embellished a bit, but John Samuelson is a Swedish immigrant who just one day showed up at the doorstep of the Keys, which were the more successful ranching and mining family in the area, and asked for a job. And so he created a little homestead out here where he, you know, did his inscription into these rocks. Well, the story gets interesting when there was an author out here just kind of adventuring, and he ran into John Samuelson, and
John Samuelson gave him his background, and his background was a tale worthy of, like, you know, Jack Sparrow's escape from the island on the back of turtles sort of thing. So apparently, according to John Samuelson, he was shanghaied into working on a ship off of Cape Town, and at some point either was marooned or ended up on a deserted island. And I'm not sure if this is before or after he escaped the island, but there was some encounter with giant ants that eat people. And also on those travels, he had some interaction with some local tribes, and one of the chieftain's beautiful daughters, because it's never the ugly daughters who fall in love with strange travelers, fell in love with him, and so I'm sure he had to spurn her advances, and had some other adventure and battled sleeping sickness, and recovered and escaped and ended up working part-time for the Keys. So John Samuelson may not have been right in the head, and in fact, after he moved out of this area, he moved to the LA area, killed 2 people at a dance in Compton, and then did not go to jail for it. He was declared mentally insane and put in a insane asylum, and he either escaped or was released from that insane asylum at some point, because he died in a logging accident in Washington State in the 50s. So interesting character, John Samuelson, and we are going to go see the inner workings of his brain, so buckle up. It's passing a fence. It's a small reminder that people used to live here. The rocks are over here. There's only about 7 or 8 that have inscriptions on them, so I'm gonna try to find them. Oh, I recognize this. Here's more of that fence. There's an old historic photograph of John Samuelson's house, and it's right underneath this very distinctive backbone feature of that mountain. But right now I'm about to go try to entertain myself with some 1920s desert Twitter. Alright, this one was pretty obvious. You could see it from far away, and there's a bench to sit here and contemplate the philosophy here. So it says, the rock of fate, and wow, truth maybe? The rock of faith and truth. Nature is God. The key to life is contact. Evolution is the mother and father of mankind. Without them, we'd be nothing. John Samuelson, 1927. Oh, all those periods. Okay, let's see if we can find another one. Right, here's another one. This was actually a very difficult scramble to get up here. I don't know how this was carved in the first place. I'm not even sure what's on here. I'm going to try to read it. Top is clearly Mother Time. Neither wealth, laws, nor armies can stop the human mind from creating new or improve upon the present day religion and government. Okay, water is saft? Saft only? I don't know. Hard in the chemicals. 2 L's on chemicals. But with time, the ocean can grind the hardest giant to powdered sand. So with time will the human race grind out its own destinies, regardless, 2 S's, of the opposition or party in power. I have no idea what that's saying. Alright, so that's the second rock. Okay, here's another one. There's another scramble. Not as bad as that one. But over here you can actually see the old corral still up, and then if you remember, the house was right underneath that backbone right there. So this is one that was visible from the house. Okay. Religion is a code of morals for us to live by no more. Hell is here on this earth. No other place. Most of it we make ourselves. As to, assuming that's heaven, find it in a lifetime, nothing proven after death by a priest or scientist. Oh man, the punctuations by this guy are killing me. That's a question, and this one definitely needed like periods or commas or something. That first one had way too many periods. Alright, let's see if we can find another. Now we have some rusty old cans. And another crazy rock. Ooh, this one's a twofer. It's got two of them. Alright. You wake up, you tax and bond slaves. Oh, wake up, people. Wake up, sheeple. A politician is a bird that gets in on the taxpayer's pocketbook for a fat rake of and his free keeps. I don't know if that's 1920s gibberish there or just crazy man ramblings. He leads you by the noose with one hand, with the other he digs in your pocket. A friend to the banker and big business. Why? Okay, let's see what the other one has to say. Try not to fall. Okay. Are you the fellow Mr. Melon that grabbed all of our dough? Ain't you better up and tell us where in the hell did it go? Oh, that one rhymed. Okay. Got this beauty at the top of the pile, right next to some bed springs over there. Okay, let's see. God made man, but Henry Ford put wheels under him. Though a master of the golden rule, he must die to be appreciated, I think. Okay. Oh, and look at this. There was one right next to it. Let me see if I can pardon that photography. Okay, let's see what it says. Oh my goodness. What is this? Judge, it looks like Ben was added later. Judge Ben Lindsay, A. Period. Man that understands humanity and big enough to live it. Study nature, obey the laws of it, and you can't go wrong. It pays compound interest for life, and not one penny invested? Exclamation, not exclamation, question mark? Alright, I'm not going to search around this pile too much longer. We are kind of at the top of it, so let me just do a panorama. That's the road down there. Maybe you can see the car. That's Park Boulevard. Just do a little swing around here now that the sun has come out. And down there is the old corral, and then that's the little backbone where the house used to be. And then this way, right here is Jonny Lake Canyon, which I'm going to next. And then of course you need to take a nap. And back to the road. Alright, I saw this one on the way down. It's interesting because you can't see it, because there's the corral again, and you couldn't see it from the ground. Alright, milk of human kindness ain't got thick cream on it for all of us. Ask Hoover. Okay, I'm not sure if anyone ever asked Hoover, but that might be it for scrambling around and looking for crazy man's rantings. I think it's time to move on. So all sorts of random things out here in the desert. It looks like a pump of some sort. So I'm on what I'm assuming is an unmaintained trail. It's supposed to be a real trail. It's a real trail on the maps, but unmaintained trail to the canyon, and came across this little thing. So canyon is this way. Got Got some more rusted debris right here. Looks like a grill. I have no idea what this stuff is. I'm currently in Jonny Lang Canyon, and it's named after a local here named Jonny Lang. And he used to live here and he had a small claim here. But it seems like with any of these guys, when you start to look them up, you kind of go down this rabbit hole. And Jonny Lang was also an interesting character as well, as he came here as a cattle driver and then got in on a good claim, the Lost Horse Mine claim. He was one of the original claim owners, and it's actually named after some issues he had with a horse, and Lost Horse Valley is also named after his issues with his horse. And at some point he sold the mine, or the majority of the shares were sold to the Ryan family, who are miners and ranchers in the area. And he still worked the night shift at the mine, but was stealing from the night shift. And so they caught him and they forced him to sell the rest of his claim. And so he came out here and he lived out here. Then an earthquake shifted the vein. I'm a little off trail right now. Shifted the vein of the I forget what was being harvested there, and so that mine went dry. So Jonny then went back and lived in the cookhouse of the abandoned mine, and he one day he put a note on the door saying going out for grub, and died at camp that night. Was found mummified later by the Keys, some members of the Keys family, and was buried right on that spot. And that spot is right off the road, right off one of the main roads. I never had any idea that it was there, but it was. And there was some grave robbing issues, and part of his remains are stolen, so I don't know if the rest of his remains are still there or the Park Service moved him, but his headstone is still there. So that's Jonny Lang. That's his history, and this is the canyon that he lived in while he was between job and living situation at the Lost Horse Mine. So according to my GPS, I'm actually on the route, but it's gotten to a point where it's very scrambly. It got to, it's following a wash for a while. The trail disappeared. And as you can see, this is quite a scramble. I tried to do it just on the other side of these rocks there, and it didn't work. It looks like there might be a cairn up there, which means this is the right way, but this is taking a while. I'm not sure I'm gonna get to my goal for today, but I'm just moving through this as best I can, and then we'll see where I am when the sun sets. Okay, so here's a cairn. Here's another cairn, and there's one way in the distance there. You can see it on top of those rocks. Those usually line the way, so this is a difficult route to do, especially with a full backpack on. So I'm just making my way through it and hoping it gets easier pretty soon. I am still on the Jonny Lang Connector Trail, and I can see some familiar sights, which I am really excited about. So over here, kind of these jumble of rocks over here are kind of the Ryan campground area. I can see cars on the road, and I'm heading over here to catch up to the California Riding and Hiking Trail. But if you're taking this connector trail between the California Riding and Hiking Trail and Jonny Lang Canyon, I would bring a GPS and proceed with caution, because this isn't a particularly maintained trail. There is some scrambling, and bring a GPS and check it frequently to see where you are. It's really cool, but it'll be a little bit more time consuming than you are used to. Look at this view. That's really pretty. So that's the park road over there. I just came out of that little dip there. I'm still on the connector trail, and there have been bits and pieces that look like it may have been a trail at one point, but I've mainly been cross-countrying this. I'm really close to the hiking and riding trail, which is this way. Just taking a little break because there's a nice rock to sit on and the view is beautiful. But I will not be going all the way to Fan Canyon. I'm going to hit the riding and hiking trail and then find a place to camp. I just passed some fantastic camping spots nestled into the juniper bushes, so that sounds like that would be a plan for me today. I'm short on daylight hours because this is December, so up next, riding and hiking trail. Okay, that's it for today. I've got my tent set up. I've got a special treat for the holidays. It's hot cider. To that hot cider, I've added a splash of bourbon. Kind of came in a cool old-timey bottle. I thought it was appropriate for the hiking trip. And tomorrow I'm going to be going past Ryan Ranch through Lost Horse Valley and taking the Boy Scout Trail to Indian Cove, where I will exit the park. We will see how much of that is actual trail and how much of that is route finding tomorrow. But should get a nice sleep, good night's sleep tonight, and be ready for whatever happens tomorrow.